Scorpio, something inside you is dying. It's not a metaphorical or symbolic end. It's a literal end of a part of your soul that has carried you until now, but has reached the end of its usefulness. On the last day of August, this ending will be complete, and in the same instant, something completely new will be born in its place. You can feel it happening even now as you read these words. A pressure in your chest, a strange emptiness in your stomach, a feeling that something fundamental is falling apart inside you. This isn't a choice you can make or not make. It's not something that can be postponed, avoided, or controlled. It's a process that has already begun and has its own intelligence, its own timetable, its own way of manifesting. You have been chosen to undergo a transformation that few human beings experience in a lifetime, a complete death and rebirth of your essential identity, and it will happen on the last day of August, whether you're ready or not. For years, you've built a version of yourself based on the need to survive in a world that never fully understood your depth. You've developed defense mechanisms, learned to hide parts of yourself, created masks for different situations. This version of yourself worked, protected you, allowed you to navigate life without completely exposing your vulnerability. But now, it's becoming a prison that's preventing you from accessing your true power. What you don't realize is that you've been carrying within you a power that doesn't entirely belong to this world, a capacity for transformation that's almost supernatural, an ability to see through the illusions that keep others blind. But this power has been dormant, blocked by the smaller version of yourself you've had to create to adapt. On the last day of August, the blocks will be removed, the power will be unleashed, and you will finally understand why you've always felt different from everyone around you. Scorpio, what's happening to you isn't just a personal change, it's a localized cosmic event. As if the universe has specifically chosen you to be a channel for transformation that goes far beyond your individual life. You're being prepared to become a catalyst for profound changes in the reality around you. But for this to happen, the old version of you must die completely. No remnants, no nostalgia, no possibility of return. Over the past few months, you've probably noticed a growing dissatisfaction with things that once fulfilled you. Relationships that once seemed sufficient now leave you empty. Activities that once brought you pleasure now seem meaningless. Ambitions that once motivated you now seem small and irrelevant. This isn't depression or a crisis. It's your soul preparing for an expansion so massive that everything in your current life will seem tiny in comparison. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this death and rebirth will primarily affect how you relate to power and control. You'll discover a natural ability to influence realities far beyond what you imagined. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, the transformation will focus on your ability to see hidden truths and reveal what's hidden. For those born between November 13th and 21st, the rebirth will activate your capacity for profound healing, not only of yourself, but of others around you. But regardless of when you were born, all Scorpios will experience the same thing on the last day of August. The terror and ecstasy of dying to one identity and being born into a completely different one. It's as if you'll wake up on that day literally a different person, with access to parts of yourself that were previously inaccessible, with powers that were previously blocked, with a clarity about your purpose that was previously absent. The process won't be comfortable. Death never is. Even when it's followed by rebirth, even when it's voluntary, even when it's necessary, you may feel fear, resistance, a desire to cling to the familiar version of yourself. But the current carrying you is far stronger than any individual resistance. It's like trying to swim against a waterfall. You can expend energy trying to resist, but you'll be swept along anyway. The only difference is whether you cooperate with the process or be swept away by it. Scorpio, there's something you need to understand about the nature of the transformation you're experiencing. It doesn't come from the outside in. It's not the result of external circumstances or random events. It comes from the inside out, from layers so deep within your psyche that you didn't even know they existed. It's as if there's a second person living inside you all the time, waiting for the right moment to emerge and take over. This second person isn't a better version of who you are now. They're someone completely different, with different values, different priorities, different ways of processing reality, with access to intuitions that the current you can't grasp, with a courage that the current you can't imagine possessing, with an ability to see through the lies that the current you still believes to be true. On the last day of August, these two people will meet, and only one will survive the encounter. There will be no gradual fusion, harmonious integration, or smooth transition. There will be a complete replacement. The person you are today will cease to exist, and the person who has always been waiting to be born will finally take their place. It's terrifying and liberating at the same time. What makes this process particularly intense for you is that, as a Scorpio, you've always had an intimate relationship with profound transformations. But this time, you're not the agent of transformation. You're the object of it. You're not transforming something or someone. You're being transformed. You have no control over the process. You're completely vulnerable to it. And for someone who has always depended on control to feel secure, this total vulnerability is almost unbearable. But here's the secret you haven't discovered yet. It's precisely in the total absence of control that you'll find your true power. When you stop trying to direct the process and surrender completely to it, you'll discover that there's a wisdom at work that's far more intelligent than anything your conscious mind could ever plan. This wisdom knows you better than you know yourself. It knows exactly what needs to die and what needs to be born. You may experience strange physical symptoms, changes in your sleep patterns, more intense and meaningful dreams, moments of disorientation where you don't fully recognize yourself, sensations in your body that you can't explain. These aren't signs that something is wrong. They're signs that the transformation is progressing at the cellular level, reorganizing not only your psyche, but your biology. You may also notice changes in how people react to you. Some may seem uncomfortable in your presence without being able to explain why. Others may be inexplicably drawn to you. This happens because your energy is shifting at frequencies that people sense subconsciously, even when they can't consciously identify what's different. Don't try to explain these changes to others. They won't understand. How could they? They've never experienced a transformation of this magnitude. For them, changes are gradual, superficial, and based on conscious decisions. They have no framework to understand a complete metamorphosis of identity. Attempts to explain will only result in misunderstanding and judgments that can interfere with your process. Scorpio, one of the most challenging things about what's happening to you is that there's no instruction manual for this kind of experience. There are no precedents in your personal life, no examples around you, no experts to guide you. You're navigating completely uncharted territory, using only your deepest intuition as your compass. And perhaps this is the scariest part. You'll have to trust parts of yourself you don't yet fully understand. You'll have to make decisions based on information arriving through channels you're not accustomed to using. You'll have to act based on certainties you can't rationally explain. For someone who has always depended on the ability to analyze and understand, this way of operating will seem dangerously blind. But here's the truth. The new version of you that's emerging has access to forms of knowledge that transcend rational analysis. It has the ability to perceive patterns invisible to linear thinking. It has intuitions that arrive not through the mind, but through a direct connection with intelligences that operate at much deeper levels of reality. On the last day of August, when the transformation is complete, you'll look back and realize you've been preparing for this moment your entire life. Every hardship you faced, Every trauma you survived, every moment of intense pain you experienced was strengthening your ability to undergo this metamorphosis without completely fragmenting. You will understand that your natural tendency to dive into emotional depths, to explore psychological territories that others avoid, to relate intimately to the dark side of existence, all of this was training for the moment when you would have to consciously die to one version of yourself and be born to another. The new version of you that emerges won't just be a different person. It will be someone with access to abilities most people would consider impossible or imaginary. Perceptive abilities that allow you to see through the masks others wear. Influential abilities that allow you to catalyze profound transformations in those around you. Healing abilities that allow you to transmit regeneration through your mere presence. These aren't skills you'll develop or learn. They're powers that have always existed within you, but were blocked by the need to maintain an identity compatible with the ordinary world. When that identity dies, the blocks will automatically dissolve, and what has always been rightfully yours will finally become accessible. Scorpio, there's an element of profound loneliness in this transformation that you need to be prepared to face. When you're reborn on the last day of August, you'll discover that very few people around you can relate to who you've become. Not because you become arrogant or unapproachable, but because the difference in depth has become too great to be easily bridged. You'll feel like someone who's learned a completely new language and discovered that most people around you still speak only the old one. You'll have insights and perceptions that are difficult to communicate. You'll see solutions to problems that others can't even identify as problems. You'll feel an urgency to take action that will seem unnecessary or excessive to those who don't see what you see. This loneliness isn't permanent, but it will last as long as it takes for you to learn to function in your new form and meet others who have also undergone similar transformations. There are others in the world who have experienced metamorphoses of this magnitude, but they are rare and not always easy to find. It may take months or even years before you find someone who truly understands what happened to you, but temporary loneliness is a small price to pay for unlocking your true power. And deep down, you've always known you were destined for something most people couldn't fully comprehend. The difference is that now it will become a lived reality, not just a vague sense of being different. When the last day of August arrives, the process of dying your old identity can unfold in a variety of ways. You might simply wake up a different person, with access to memories and abilities that didn't exist the day before. You might experience a period of a few hours where you feel completely dissociated from who you used to be. You might experience a sort of vision or lucid dream where you consciously witness the transformation taking place. Regardless of how it manifests externally, internally, you'll know exactly what's happening. You'll feel the old version of you dissolving and the new one taking shape. It will be simultaneously terrifying and deeply liberating, as if you can finally stop pretending to be someone less than you really are. And here's something that might surprise you. Along with the birth of your new self, you'll also gain a clear understanding of why you've gone through everything you've gone through to reach this moment. You'll see how every experience, every relationship, every choice, every mistake, everything had a purpose within the greater plan that led you to this transformation. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was unnecessary. Everything was precisely orchestrated to prepare you to become who you truly are. The people who hurt you taught you resilience. The situations that challenged you developed your ability to navigate uncharted territory. The moments of solitude prepared you for the emotional independence you'll need when you operate at your new level. Scorpio, in the coming days, as you approach the last day of August, try not to resist the changes you're feeling internally. Don't try to cling to the familiar version of yourself. Don't try to control or direct the process. Simply observe what's happening with the curiosity of someone witnessing a miracle unfolding. Keep a record of what you're experiencing, Physical sensations, dreams, sudden intuitions, changes in how you perceive people and situations around you. This record will be valuable later when you want to understand more deeply what happened to you. And it can also be useful in helping others who go through similar transformations in the future. In the days immediately following the last day of August, be patient with yourself as you adjust to your new reality. You may feel disoriented, as if you're learning to inhabit a body and mind that are simultaneously yours and completely different. You may need time to figure out how your new abilities work, how to relate to people who knew the old you, how to integrate your new perception of reality with the practical responsibilities of everyday life. Remember that transformations of this magnitude don't happen to punish or unnecessarily challenge you. They happen because you've reached a point where you're ready to take on greater responsibilities, exert deeper influence, and contribute in ways you couldn't while operating as a smaller version of yourself. You are being prepared to become an agent of transformation in the world, someone capable of catalyzing profound changes in the people and situations around you, someone who can see through collective illusions and help others do the same. Someone who can walk between different levels of reality and serve as a bridge between worlds that normally don't communicate. The last day of August marks not only the end of who you were, but the beginning of a mission that goes far beyond your personal satisfaction. You are being called to serve something greater, to use your new powers for the benefit of collective evolution, to help accelerate the awakening of consciousness that is happening on the planet right now. If this message touched something deep within you, if you recognized the transformation process I described, this confirms that you are among those chosen for this metamorphosis. Share in the comments discreetly if you've been feeling the internal changes I mentioned, the feeling of something dying, the pressure in your chest, the intense dreams, the growing dissatisfaction with what once satisfied you. Subscribe to the channel, because what will happen on the last day of August is just the beginning of a completely new phase in your existence. You will need guidance on how to integrate your new abilities, how to navigate changes in your relationships, and how to use your emerging powers responsibly and effectively. Turn on notifications, because in the coming months I'll be sharing specific information on how to navigate a transformation of this magnitude. How to connect with people who haven't yet gone through this kind of metamorphosis, how to recognize others who have gone through similar experiences, how to use your new insights to contribute positively to the world. The last day of August is approaching, and with it comes a divine turning point in your story. The death of your old identity is no longer just a possibility, it is already written in the fabric of time. The fears, the doubts, the patterns that once held you captive are losing their power. The cycle that kept you small has already expired. What awaits you now is the undeniable birth of your true self, the version of you that life has been shaping, molding, and preparing in silence. There is no going back, there is no cancellation, there is no postponement. What is unfolding is irreversible. This is not a rehearsal, this is the stage. The curtain is rising, and you are stepping into the spotlight of your own destiny. Prepare yourself, because the process may feel intense, but it is holy. The universe is orchestrating a rebirth that will demand courage, surrender, and faith. You are being stripped of illusions so that truth can clothe you. You are being emptied of what no longer serves you so that abundance can overflow. Your real life, the one that was promised, the one you secretly longed for, is about to begin. Trust it. Embrace it. Step into it without fear. The new you has already arrived.